Okay. Good morning, students. Yesterday, we are successfully completed what are the functions of esophagus, what is the process is going on in esophagus. Okay. Today in this class, how the mechanism of esophagus is going on. It's a small activity here. Listen. So in this activity, we can use a small instruments. So first of all, you people have to take nearly 30 to 40 centimeters length of the cycle tube. Okay. First article is nearly 30 to 40 centimeters length of cycle tube. Okay. And any grease or oil or Vaseline jelly. Second one. Third one, the diameter size of cycle tube potato. We people have to select the potato. The potato size is, it is the correct size of the diameter size of the cycle tube what we are taken. Listen, clear? This is the tube we are taken. This is in the length of, for example, 40 centimeters or for example 50 centimeters for our convenience. And Vaseline jelly or any grease and potato. See this, here the potato what we are taken, that is the correct size of the diameter of the cycle tube what we are taken. The correct diameter size potato we should take compulsory. Okay. See that before this activity, apply the Vaseline jelly or grease in the internal surface of the cycle tube. Inner surface of the cycle tube should be applied with Vaseline jelly or grease thoroughly. Then hold the cycle tube in upper end. So for example, this is the upper end. And take the potato and dip in the diameter size of the, dip in the top hole of the top hole of the cycle tube. So if you are observing clearly, the potato can move within the cycle tube in a wave-like movement. See, for example, the cycle tube is gradually moves like this, where the potato is running. This kind of movement is called as peristaltic movement. Already we know in the first lesson. See that? This is the place of the potato. Where the potato moves. So for moving of this potato, the Vaseline jelly or grease is used. If the absence of this Vaseline jelly or grease, there is no way to move like this potato, like this peristaltic movement. See that? When the potato is applied, when the potato is implemented within the tube, that potato can also move just like as a wave-like movement. Wave-like movement. This kind of wave-like movement is called as peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement. A wave-like movement of the food in the esophagus or the food pipe. This is commonly called as peristaltic movement. Here, the comparing. Here the cycle tube is completely called as esophagus. Here the cycle tube is compared as the esophagus. Here the Vaseline jelly or grease is commonly called as the mucus secreted by the walls of the esophagus. Okay, the walls of the esophagus secretes the mucus. Okay, and the potato what we have taken, this is compared as a this is compared called as a food material. Food material what we have taken through the ingestion process. See clear? Along with this particular along with this particular mucin and mucus, the longitudinal muscles and circular muscles are also present in this particular esophagus, which also useful to move the food material like a peristaltic movement now. Clear it is. So here the vaseline jelly or grease is compared as a mucus secreted by the walls of the esophagus or food pipe. This kind of movement is also observed in the esophagus itself now. Clear? How this movement is going on clearly. So that is called peristaltic movement in esophagus. How it is possible? This is a small activity to understand easily. Okay. See that you know clearly the primary classes. What is called human digestion? This is mouth. This is called as buccal cavity. Buccal cavity also known as oral cavity. Okay. This part is called as pharynx. Okay. This is called as esophagus or food pipe. Food pipe is a common name. Esophagus is the scientific name or technical name. Clear? And the food material what is in the esophagus is called as the bolus. Okay. This is the stomach. This part is called as pylori. This is called as so that the clear understanding what is the peristaltic movement in esophagus. So you know clearly this is the stomach. This is called pyloric stomach. This part is called as the U-shaped turning is called duodenum. So we are taken the food material through the mouth by the process called ingestion. Taking the food material into the body is called ingestion. Okay. So when we are taken the food material through the mouth, that should be thoroughly masticated with high amounts of saliva. The mastication of food material occurs in the part of the buccal cavity or mouth cavity. This is helped by the muscles present in the buccal cavity. Okay, and along with three pairs of salivary glands. In the buccal cavity or oral cavity, there are three pairs of salivary glands are present: sublingual, submaxillary, and parotid. Sublingual, submaxillary, and parotid glands. Three pairs of salivary glands are present. Already you know about the salivary glands in the first lesson itself now. Clear? So these three pairs of salivary glands secretes its secretion into the buccal cavity when the food material is present in the buccal cavity or in the mouth. Okay. So this saliva contains a high amount of salivary amylase called ptyalin. This salivary amylase can also useful to the masticating the food material. Clear? So after the thoroughly masticating the food material in the buccal cavity, the food should be swallowed into the next part is called as the pharynx. The swallowing process is under control by the medulla oblongata of the brain. The part of the brain is called medulla oblongata can controls the swallowing, coughing, sneezing, and vomiting also. Clear? So here the important point is going on. At that part of the pharynx, a small flap-like structure is present. This is called the epiglottis. In second lesson of respiration, what is the function of epiglottis? Already you know clearly. It also directs the food material and air into the respective passages. Okay. While the swallowing process, it can also closes the esophagus. It can also closes the part is called as the trachea, giving the way especially into the esophagus or food pipe. Clear? So the food should be transported should into the next part is called as the esophagus. Just now we discussed here how the movement of food material is going on in the esophagus, like a wave-like movement. Okay, internal part of the esophagus also having the longitudinal muscles and circular muscles. The walls of the esophagus have the longitudinal and circular muscles can also useful to transport the food material, can also move the food material from the pharynx to the stomach. See that esophagus functions, yesterday we discussed the upper part of the esophagus connecting to the pharynx and lower part of the esophagus connecting to the stomach itself now. So whereas the 0% digestion takes place in the esophagus. Esophagus is the only the way, it's the media to transport the food material from the pharynx to stomach itself. Okay, there is not at all any digestion process is going on in the esophagus. Clear? So the food is transported like a wave-like movement and until the reaching of the stomach itself. So the food material what is present in the esophagus is called as the bolus, a slurry mass food material which is masticated by the buccal cavity. That is called as the bolus. So the bolus reaching the next part is called as the stomach. So internally, the stomach walls also have the circular and longitudinal and diagonal muscle. Uh, transporting muscles, which are also useful to digest the food materials. Okay, which is also useful to the grind the food materials. And along with the walls of the stomach can also secretes digestive juices. Okay, the digestive juices secreted by the stomach walls when the food material is available, that should be completely thoroughly mixed with high amount of mucin and saliva, and also along with the digestive juices itself. Now when the food material is digested here, that's why the stomach is also called as a good mixer and digester. So in the next part is called as the part of the stomach nearer to the heart is called as cardiac stomach. Okay, the part of the stomach which is nearer to the pyloric sphincter is called as the pyloric stomach. So this particular region is called as the pyloric sphincter. Pyloric sphincter. This is the ring-like valve. In any part of the one of the body, the sphincter muscles are mostly giving the way to the mostly one-way direction. See that when the food material reaching to the stomach, that food should be compulsory passed to the next part is called as the duodenum. The U-shaped turning, also called as the first part of the small intestine. This is called as the duodenum. Now the food material should enter into the next part is called as the duodenum. So when the food material should enter into the duodenum, this pyloric sphincter valve should be closed. Should be closed. So within the part of the stomach, there are three mechanisms are going on. So these are commonly called as the propulsion, grinding, and retropulsion. Propulsion, grinding, and retropulsion. These three mechanisms also going on here in this particular one. See that? So when the food material, see this is the stomach part. Within the part, for example, this is the bolus. This bolus should enters. When the food material should enters into the next part is called duodenum. The little bit amount of food material should enters into the duodenum. Then the pyloric valve should be closed. And some more amount should enters once again into the duodenum, and the pyloric valve then it's make open. Automatically that should be closed. So little bit amount of food material can passes into the next part is called as into the duodenum. Okay, not all the food material, not complete food material should enters into the duodenum. Otherwise, the valve should be gets may burst. Such a kind of opportunity would not giving by the pyloric sphincter. It allows the little bit amount of food material only into the next part is called duodenum. Such a kind of movement that is commonly called as the propulsion. Propulsion means movement of food material like a wave. It is starting from the mouth to the until the part of the anus also. The wave-like movement, it means the forward movement of food material should not come back once again. Such a kind of movement is called as the propulsion. So during the process of propulsion, the pyloric valve should be closed. Okay, and again grinding. So the propulsion is not completely started here. After the grinding the food material, that should be opens. Okay, until the digestion, the pyloric valve is completely should be closed. Okay, grinding means with having high amounts of digestive juices within the stomach, along with the muscles of the stomach also, they secretes the complete digestive juices and thoroughly gets mixed. That's why the stomach is called as a well designed mixer and digester. Okay, next point is called as the grinding. Then the next last one is called as retropulsion. When the food material should be digested here, some amount of food should come back once again. Movement of food material in forward direction is called as the propulsion. Peristaltic movement. When the food material which enters into the duodenum, some amount of food material would like to come back once again into the stomach itself now. Such a movement is called as retropulsion. But the pyloric valve won't give such a kind of opportunity. Won't give a chance to come back once again. Okay. So completely the movement of food material should enters into the forward movement. Then when the food material enters into the next part is called, then the pyloric valve should slightly opens. Not completely. Means little bit amount of food material only can transfers. This is the movement is going on. Okay. So the food material what is present in the esophagus is called as the bolus. The food material present in the stomach is called as chyme. Means a partially digested, means incompletely digested food material in the stomach is called as a chyme. Then the remaining nearly 70 to 80% of digestion takes place within the part of the small intestine. Clear it is. Okay. So Just below 5%, below 3 to 4% of the digestion is only takes place in the part of the buccal cavity. That should be done by only salivary amylase. Okay. See in the textbooks, all of you know, once a small understanding table is also given to you. Percentage, emptying of stomach, emptying of small intestine. Total 100%, 2.5 to 3 hours. Here 4 to 5 hours, 2.5 hours, 30 to 40 hours. See, according to this particular table, what you have understand? See, the percentage is given, emptying of stomach and emptying of small intestine. Take a few minutes to understand this. 50% is of food material, emptying of stomach 2.5 to 3 hours, and again 2.5 hours we emptying in the small intestine, and again 100% is 4 to 5 hours and 30 to 40 hours, especially to completing in the small intestine. A small logic here. So when the food material is enters into the stomach itself now, first of all we are discussing about the emptying of stomach within the part of the stomach itself. Clear? When the food material enters into the stomach, approximately 40 to 50% of digestion may takes place within the part of the stomach by having the digestive enzymes here. So by that morning, 8 o'clock, we have taken the breakfast. Okay, we should take the breakfast for example. By the 8 o'clock, we have taken the breakfast. 50% of digestion completed in the stomach. The food metal what we have taken as a breakfast. Okay, that should be taken nearly 2.5 to 3 hours. 2.5 to 3 hours means, so this particular food metal what we have taken by the time of 8 o'clock, that should be emptied. The amount of food metal should be emptied in the stomach. That would take nearly 2.5 to 3 hours. Means 8 to 9, 10, 10:30 to 11 o'clock. By the time of 10:30 to 11 o'clock, the 50% of the food material of the breakfast is emptied. The remaining 50% is not completely transported into the duodenum. Clear? Next, total 100% of emptying. The stomach can also store the food material in maximum hours is 4 to 5 hours. 4 to 5 hours means the total percentage of emptying of the food material of the breakfast, it will take nearly 4 to 5 hours, means approximately 8 to 9, 10, 11, 12, around 12 to 1 o'clock. In approximately 12 to 1 o'clock. In between the 12 to 1 o'clock, the food material what we are taken as a breakfast is completely emptied. That is the logic here. So, for the 50% of emptying of the stomach, it will take nearly 2.5 to 3 hours. For complete emptying the food material into the stomach, that should be taken by 4 to 5 hours. Come to the point is called into the small intestine. The next part of the duodenum is called as small intestine. When the food material, the first session food material is transported from the stomach, that should be by 2.5 to 3 hours, that should digested within the part of the small intestine. So whereas when the food metal completely enters into the small intestine, the first session food metal can also digested within the part of the one, small intestine. That should be taken by 2.5 hours. So for example, the first session food material by 10:30 to 11, 11 to 2.5 hours. For example, 12, 1 and 1:30. Approximately by sharply 1:30, 50% of the food matter should be emptied in the small intestine. This is just only the approximate value for our understanding. Okay, and the nearly complete emptying of the food metal in the small intestine will take nearly by 30 to 40 hours. Means by the next day afternoon session. So, for example, if you have taken the food metal, but today, for example, for the morning session we are discussing, by next day afternoon session, that should be completely emptied in the small intestine itself. Then should be converted into a undigested food material as a fecal discharge or whatever it may be. So the food materials are passing like this mechanism itself now. Maximum the stomach can store the food material into 4 to 5 hours. That's why I'm saying, 4 to 5 hours is a complete emptying of food material in the stomach itself now. Clear? Okay. Okay, the remaining topic we will discuss later in the next class. Okay, thank you. So, the part of the stomach, digestive juices plus hydrochloric acid. Along with the digestive juices, some amount of hydrochloric acid is also secreted by the walls of the stomach. So, along with the digestive juices and hydrochloric acid, these two also combining called a digestive secretions. Digestive secretions. The hydrochloric acid secreted by the walls of the stomach also useful to most of the protein digestive mechanism. Protein digestion. The enzymes what are useful for the protein digestion is activated by the hydrochloric acid or HCl. HCl is not only useful to the digestion of the proteins breakdown and but also hydrochloric acid also can kills the germs which enters into the stomach. Which enters into the stomach. Or understand? Hydrochloric acid also can kills the invading germs, foreign germs. Clear it is now. So that is the use of the hydrochloric acid. The next point is how the traveling of food material from the stomach to the intestine. Clearly in the small intestine itself. Just observe clearly. This is large intestine. So this is small intestine. If you are compared the complete small intestine as a long tube, so the total length of alimentary canal means that is started with the mouth and ending with anus. The total length of alimentary canal is 9 meters in length. The total length. Okay, this is called a gut. Alimentary canal also called as the gut. Out of the total 9 meters, small intestine occupies around 6 meters in length, whereas large intestine occupies up 1.5 to 2 meters in length. Okay, the total length of alimentary canal is 9 meters approximately. Okay, small intestine alone occupies the 9 meters in length. The total length of the alimentary canal is depending upon mostly by the length of the small intestine exactly. Clear? So, for example, if the small intestine is completely taken as a long tube, so the previously we completely clearly understood that internal walls of the small intestine has a small finger-like projections. Okay, small finger-like projections. These finger-like projections are called as villus or villi. Villus means singular, villi means plural. So, villus or villi, a small finger-like projections. Microscopic finger-like projections are also present in the small intestine. Those are originated from the epithelial cells of the internal walls of the small intestine. Okay, these villi is completely connected with blood capillaries, nerves, and also the muscles, and connected along with this particular lacteal means a part of the lymphatic system. Do you know that the parallel system for the circulation is called as the lymphatic system? A large lymphatic vessel is called as the lacteal. Okay, so the lacteal connecting with this particular one, this outer part is called as the epithelial cells or epithelium, a network of blood capillaries and mucous glands also present in the walls of the epithelial cells of the villus. These villas are highly designed or well designed to absorb the digested food material. The digested food material is absorbing within the part of the small intestine and also mixed with this particular blood circulation. Clear? See, this villi is well designed to absorb the food materials, which are also presenting in the small intestine. Those are a small finger-like projections. We can also make a small activity also for this one. So, paper tube activity. If you are folding the paper and the complete paper folding is completely kept in the long tube, there are the small circular ring-like structures can also appear. Okay, you can also observe in your textbooks itself. It's a very easy activity also. Such a kind of turning finger-like structures are also present in the small intestine. These are called as the villus or villus structures. Okay, these are designed to absorb the food materials in the part of the small intestine. Okay, so then the alimentary canal, also called the gut. The alimentary canal or the gut. The total part is called from mouth to anus. Mouth to anus. See, for example, here we're also discussing here now. Just observe here a small diagram to you. So from mouth to anus, this is the total length. That is 9 meters. This is also called as the enteric nervous system. The gut is called, or alimentary canal is commonly called as enteric nervous system. This is also known as the second brain of the body. Second brain of the body. All the scientists can also declare that the alimentary canal, also called as the gut, can also compared as the second brain of the body, because total functions of our body is mostly controlled by the alimentary canal or gut. One more interesting point: 70% of our immunity is depending upon the health of the alimentary canal. Or understand? 70% of our health or 70% of our immunity is depending upon the health or working ability of the particular alimentary canal or gut. So our total immunity, our health is completely depending upon the health of the alimentary canal. Such a range of functions can be coordinated by the alimentary canal itself. That's why the scientists can declare that gut or alimentary canal is called as the second brain. How it is possible? See, first of all, we have taken the process commonly called as the digestion. Already in the previous classes, I discussed you. So when the food metal is taken into the stomach itself, for example, the food material should be digested, digestive system. Okay, the digestion, after digestion, the food material should be transported into the circulatory system, where of course the digested food material can transported into the circulation by the absorbing the food materials. Okay, circulation. Okay, the excess amount of food material should be transported into the as a waste material to out, that is called waste transporting system, that is called as a excretion. Some of the food molecules are used in the growth and development. Some of the food materials are worked for the neural control. Some of the food materials, what we are taken as control, also useful for the coordination of the body. Some of the food materials may also involve in the development process of reproduction. Some food materials may also growth are useful for the endocrine system. Some food material can also getting highly influenced in the hormonal activity. I understand. For example, secondary sexual characters or whatever it may be, anyone. Okay, these total functions are get controlled within the part of the alimentary canal or gut. Even this particular food material also connecting with the digestion, circulation, excretion, for growth and development, and again neural control, coordination, reproduction, and endocrine system. Not only this particular one, but also each and every system is mostly connecting with this particular alimentary canal function. So the entire alimentary canal, internal parts of the alimentary canal is completely composed of the several uh, nearly 40 to 50% of the neurons are also connecting with this particular alimentary canal. So the total functions are completely carried by the alimentary canal or gut. So which can also communicate. So do you know what is the word is called communicate? All these systems can communicate with each other without having any hindrance for their working efficiencies. Okay, not any work is completely strict by this particular one. So every system in the body can automatically communicate with each other, and finally the process of digestion and the process of all the mechanisms is also going on. See simply, so for example, we are taken just like as an excretion. It's not only the excretion. Excretion is also followed by the digestion. So for example, for neural control, it is not only the neural control, it is also followed by the digestion. Without digestion process, without the taking the food materials, not at all any process going on. That's why the scientists declare that particular gut or alimentary canal is also called as second brain, which can communicate each and every systems in the body itself now. I understand. Okay. Last but not least, expulsion of waste material, how it is going on. Expulsion of waste. It is done by two mechanisms. Expulsion of waste is done by two mechanisms. First of all, excessive amounts of material, just like the sweat, urine, or understand, sweat, urine, saliva, these are all completely excreted. For example, sweat, urine, saliva, okay, etc. These kind of materials can also excreted from the body to out. This is also one way of the expulsion of waste material, or tears, or a releasing of carbon dioxide to out. Whatever it may be, these are all commonly called as excretory mechanisms, not the secretions. Clear? So the second mechanism is called as releasing of undigested food material. This is commonly called as a faces or fecal discharge. So releasing of undigested food material is in the form of the fecal discharge is also the second process to releasing of now. So by the two mechanisms, we people have to releasing the waste material. Okay, how the process of expulsion, that is called releasing of fecal discharge, is going on here. See that at the ending part of the alimentary canal, that is called as a rectum and anus. Okay, do you know what is called rectum? This is the storage tank of the fecal discharge. After the small intestine, the food material is digested with the nearly by the 30 to 40 hours. The complete undigested food material is also stored in the part of the rectum, which is also known as the storage tank for the stool or fecal discharge. Temporarily, this particular food material can be stored until the discharging mechanism. Clear it is. So, after incomplete digestion, incompletely the food material what is present here that should be stored in the part of the rectum. That is an yellowish and smellish material, and along with some amount of bacteria can also be stored in the part of the rectum itself now. That should be transferred to the next part by the sphincter. The sphincter muscles can passes the food materials by the wish, by the controlling of the humans. Okay, mostly this kind of one also under controlling by the autonomous nervous system. Autonomous nervous system. Okay, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems already you know. So this autonomous nervous system can regulate this particular one. When the rectum can pass the food material into the anus, that should be guarded by the sphincter muscles, just like the releasing of the urine itself now. So automatically the food material, the undigested food material should be passed to out. Such a process commonly called as defecation. Defecation or also called as egestion. Egestion or defecation means releasing or pushing the undigested food material to out. That is called defecation. Okay, so this is the complete coordination mechanism in life process. Each and every system is completely connected with each other. Even the hormones or enzymes or neural control, whatever it may be, each and everyone should be coordinated or communicate with each other. And finally the process of life mechanism is also going on here. Okay, the next lesson is called heredity. We people have to discuss on the next lesson. Okay, thank you.